Hello my dear friends, I hope you guys are doing great. In today's video, one of our friends from Instagram asked me a question: is it normal for children to express anger in a dysfunctional way, and how parents can help and talk to that child without hurting their feelings? Let's focus on the word dysfunction first. It varies from person to person. For one parent, dysfunction means that a child is shouting and screaming. For another parent, it means that the child is kicking and hitting and breaking objects. You and I have to agree that the word dysfunction basically means that the child is displaying a behavior that is not only helpful, but it can be actually harmful to them, to their environment, and in terms of relationship with other people. So that is the term that I'm referring to throughout this video. Now let's focus on whether it's normal. First of all, if you remember from my previous video, I mentioned that anger is a very normal human emotion. Not only normal, but this is also as a part of our survival, which in this case makes it much more needed emotion. The same goes for children. It is them who would be experiencing anger, but one thing that they would be struggling with is two things that we have. Number one, we have fully developed brain. Number two, we have acquired skills throughout life that taught us that expressing anger in a dysfunctional way is not acceptable, but at the same time, it has a lot of negative consequences attached to it. For children, they haven't developed that skills yet. They don't know anything in terms of life experiences, but at the same time, their brain hasn't developed. Most of you know that human brain develops until age 24, 25. So if we're talking to younger children, then it's understandable why they show their anger the way that they know how. So at this point, we can say that yes, it can be normal for some children to express anger in a dysfunctional way, but at the same time, we can say that parents can be a helpful tool to teach them that there are certain behaviors that are not acceptable, which is the answer to the second part of your question, how to help them without hurting their feelings. I'm not sure about hurting their feelings, because when it comes to consequences, most of the time, children and even maybe adults don't like to be told what is the consequence of their behavior. Nobody likes being grounded. Nobody likes their electronics being taken away. So in this case, don't be afraid to disappoint them sometimes. However, you're helping them to learn that there are certain boundaries within the family in first place, but in outer world as well, that to be observed and to be respected. In this case, you're teaching the child that if they have certain behavior that is not acceptable at the family level, then there will be consequences. With younger children, you can apply some techniques such as counting to give them a chance to correct their behavior. For example, counting till 10 will allow your child to do the desired behavior, not engage in a negative behavior such as expressing anger in a dysfunctional way. That is an opportunity for correction. However, if they do not correct their behavior, feel free to use the skill of timeout. I call it this skill because I know that many parents, if like myself, coming from another countries where you were hit as a child or you were disciplined by mirroring your own anger, then for us as parents, it's a skill to learn that I don't have to mirror my child's anger. I don't have to act angry myself. I don't have to hit them. I don't have to shout at them, because it's almost like we're on the same boat. I have to be calmed down, and I have to be in a better regulated place so that I can communicate with my child that this behavior is not acceptable. Therefore, it's a skill to learn how to put a child on timeout. You know about timeout timing. I'm sure there are a lot of articles on Google that you can search. What are some timeout strategies for which age group? Now, that would be one way to deal with them. Another way is, even for children as young as 2 years old, you can make them understand that you see them, that you can understand their feelings. Now, I don't want to get really wordy about that because their brain has not developed yet. Their language area, the language area of their brain is still developing. So if you talk for 5 minutes why a problem is a problem, then you will easily lose their focus after maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute. So it's always a good idea to be concise and precise to the point when you're talking to a child. Make it almost like one sentence, why something is not acceptable, and also make it one sentence, why there will be a consequence to that behavior. And the same goes with adolescent children. So with adolescent children, the advantage is that their language area has developed quite significantly, and you can communicate with them through your words, doing the same thing. You're going to validate their emotions, that I see you, I can see why you're hurt, I can see why you're shocked by this particular incident. Now remember from my previous video that there are a whole bunch of other emotions that happen before the anger emotion. So you want to validate the primary emotion. I call them primary emotion. So you want to validate those primary emotions and let them know that you can see them. This is very relieving for a child to know that they are seen, that what they're going through is understood by their parent. So usually this is by itself an intersection where anger cannot go to stage number 2. So this intersection gives an opportunity to calm down and to regulate yourself, because it's a very relieving feeling for a child to know that they're seen. So you can use that validation skills. However, for adolescent as well, you want to make sure that there are boundaries that they need to follow. And grounding techniques for adolescents in this day and age is normally taking away their electronics. So this is, I hope, helping you in some way to know that part of the skills that a parent can help the child when it comes to dysfunctional anger expression is partly definition of knowing what is dysfunctional. The other part is knowing that you can validate and you can make the child understand that you see and why you understand why they're hurt, or again, going back to that primary emotions, why they're feeling what they're feeling. And then you're still going to assert and firmly reinforce your boundaries with the child by clearly stating what would be the consequence of their behavior. So I hope this video helps. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have